To find the link to the Zoom, click on it to connect to the room. We sit and wait for the meeting to begin, and the names TJ starts calling. They ask us what we wanna comment on. We say general or multiple agenda item. Then we continue to wait for them to start up, and finally we are now recording pops up. The president talks and it's blah blah blah, but he mentions public comment, the time is now. They call on us to speak and we all slay. Everyone's so good with what they say. Sometimes it feels never ending, it's been so long, but to this day, we're all so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so freaking strong, y'all. Click on it to connect to the room. We sit and wait for the meeting to begin. Then the names TJ starts calling. They ask us what we wanna comment on. We say general or multiple agenda item. Then we continue to wait for them to start up, and finally we are now recording pops up. The president talks and it's blah blah blah, but he mentions public comment, the time is now. They call on us to speak and we all slay. Everyone's so good with what they say. Sometimes it feels never ending, it's been so long, but to this day we're all so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so strong. We're so freaking strong, y'all. Yeah.
What's up? I want to focus on, instead of AI, I might go to AI at some point, but I want to focus today on listening to some of the audio of the meetings. So instead of just hearing the commentary about the audio, let's go through the actual meetings themselves, the comments themselves, and break them down. I just don't know if I want to go in some type of order that might make it easier, but at the same time, I want to go through and play more recent ones first. So we're going to go through, and this is going to be Public Works from...
Next up, we have Miriam.
Whoops. This is from March 8th and March 12th. And you can find these comments on Audit LA, at Audit LA, and also Fat Grammy, aka Mona. She has the Zoom calls too. But we're going to just listen to the audio. There's not really much to see on the screen when people are calling in on Zoom. There are some people that are there in person that are not really related to what we call in about. But I'm going to leave those in there for context because it shows how people call in and they only have a certain amount of time. So this right here is March 8th, Public Works.
Embarrassing.
Whoops, gotta rewind it.
Transgender queen.
Okay, now this first person speaking is Shirt Guy, and he signs up on several different names. So you won't hear them talk about, next speaker, Shirt Guy, but if you hear a crazy name, there's a chance that it's him. Lately, he's been talking about Scientology, and it might be different stuff than what the other callers are saying, but I like that he, is including Scientology in his comments now as he speaks. Let me play.
Our officer right here because
And the audio gets better in a second. It's really quiet.
How can you blame me when I'm in the bus stop, when I'm waiting for the train, waiting for the subway, waiting for the bus, or waiting for the access, and then if there's no bathroom around, I go to a private small business, they deny me to use bathroom because I'm not a customer. I go to a nearby hotel, I go to a nearby shopping mall, whatever, they deny me. So right now I end up, urinating, pooping on the street. But again, how can you blame me for that? You blame me if I do that right here. We have a bathroom. If I do that, then you blame me. I agree. But on the street, if I do not see any bathroom within 10 miles, how can you blame me? Why is that my fault? I do not understand.
Ms. Matson, I have one more card for this is the same as John Doe. Is that a third person or is that the same person?
The same individual handed me the card, but if it's a different person.
Sir, let us talk first and then don't disrupt the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, I want to point out right there, President Corson is the one that's speaking, and he's telling this guy, to basically chill. All the guy did was he got up and he started walking down the aisle and walked towards the podium. He wasn't being disruptive or anything. But the commissioners, especially President Corson, from what I've seen, they tend to just be they're not so friendly. I don't know the right word to describe it, but I see it a lot where they kind of like just have an attitude for no reason at times. But this guy, I don't know much about him, but he has an interesting comment.
Candio, 1 minute.
That's all you had to say, sir. Thank you for allowing me to talk. I saw another slaughter this week. Miss Chief Crawley came before the council to see if she could get some justice. And what happened? I've been here 36 years. Most of you weren't even around. But 36 years, I've seen what happens in City Hall. I was offered one of those positions if I kept my mouth shut on contracts and procurement. I've watched too many city employees' lives destroyed, ruined by politicians and by volunteers who come here with good intent. But when they get power, they will destroy anything that might take away that power. So I'm asking you, to get some cojones and represent the people. Don't be a bunch of puppets. We had a bunch of puppets next door, and I hope to God that these are all new faces. I hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more speaker for in person. Just as a reminder, there is a maximum time of 10 minutes for general public comment. This will be the fourth person for Dirty N.
Okay, now I'm getting this audio from the video posted on Audit LA's channel. This is not from a live stream. This is from an actual video. I'm assuming that she's already went through and bleeped out or censored the really bad words. But just in case, this guy that is about to speak, Mr. Herman, we refer to him as the F-bomb guy sometimes, but he has a very foul mouth. And again, I'm leaving this in just to show how these people that aren't talking about the issues can sort of eat away at our time, and it's frustrating. But at the same time, if you listen to his words and you take out the hate and you take out the expletives and you listen to the core things that he's coming to talk about, him and Goat Puppet, they both have good points here and there. It's just very hard to hear them sometimes, the way that they deliver it with their language. But again, hopefully Audit censored it out. If she didn't, viewer discretion involved or advised.
how many years I've complained about the issues of access, travel of access, path of travel, ADA, and you continue to violate my fucking rights as a disabled man, and I'm humiliated by all of you. Do your fucking job and get out there on Soto and goddamn Marengo and fix that fucking public sidewalk. I want my ramps, I want my curbs. Motherfucker.
We'll go to the Zoom platform.
Oh, and again, I want to point out that there's freedom of speech, and that's particularly important when it comes to the government. The government cannot prevent your freedom of speech. And that's why in these meetings, they let people say what they say. If it goes off topic, they can call them off topic, but you're allowed to use very colorful language. And if they take away the right for someone else to express their freedom of speech, then you could be next. So I get frustrated because I wish that that minute could have been filled with another caller. I didn't even get to do my public comment in this meeting. And, you know, he's one of them. I wish I could have went in his place and said something. But like I said, these people that are saying the colorful language do have good points. Not all of them, but they do have some good points. You just got to weed through their language to get to them sometimes.
Thank you, President Corsan. Audit LA, you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Yes, you can't punish people for lining up to talk to you. Police and city council give 40 minutes of public comment. 10 minutes is not enough, and you can override it, and I hope you do. That being said, Mr. Knight could not hear me when I asked if he gave you the report, the CAS report. So he told me to send it to you individually. I did that. I hope you have all received it. I hope you all read through it, and I hope you all take it very seriously. This needs to be addressed. It should have been addressed months and months ago. The fact that the city is just dawdling around and not taking ADA violations seriously is egregious, and it needs to stop. You know, I also want to give, and I want you to say to stop the street thing. They are doing this as an UNRWA violation. They are trying to prohibit free speech. They're not under threat. There's been no restraining orders or convictions against any peaceful protester. So they are using all this drama to try to get a street vacation and become what Amy called the Vatican City. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so she pointed out UNRWA. Now, I've heard about it, but I don't even know much about that. But I'm going to look more into it. Audit. Your perfect timing. What is UNRWA? What does that stand for? I want to look that up, but we just listened to, you're mentioning that on March 8th. And let's see if I can, I think it's just spelled like UNRA. Oh, RUH. UNRUH Act. Okay, so it says the UNRWA Civil Rights Act, a California law. So this is for California specifically. When you hear a lot of these things, they're going to be California specific or Los Angeles specific. Depending on where you are, things will be different. But this is a California-based law, and it's California Civil Code Section 51. It prohibits discrimination by business establishments in California, including housing and public accommodations, based on various protective characteristics. It says that the act ensures that all persons within California's jurisdiction are free and equal, regardless of their sex, race, color, religion, ancestry, national origin, disability, medical condition, genetic information, marital status, sexual orientation, citizenship, primary language, or immigration status. The act applies to all business establishments, including housing and public accommodations. It's enforced by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, the DFEH. It allows for statutory damages with a minimum of $4,000 per occurrence or per violation. So I guess that 4,000 is like the threshold. If it's under 4,000, they don't care. That I don't know. I need to look more into that. I don't get that part. Relationship to the ADA. The UNRRA Act has adopted the same standards for discrimination as the Americans with Disability Act. Okay. But then it does say here that there are some exemptions, such as for private clubs or organizations. Kirby's, what's up? I'm so mad. I set my alarm so I could watch your live. For anyone that doesn't know, there were a lot of people out in Denmark today. Kirby's was one of them. She did her first live. Go over there, check it out, subscribe to her. I can't say enough good things about Kirby's mom. She's amazing. Yeah, like, but I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I've checked things here and there, and I saw her talking to Dodge, and like I said, she did her first live stream. Like, Kirby's is amazing. If you guys don't know, like, Kirby's was involved with the inspection thing, that 71-page report. Like, her and Audit did a lot with that, and I feel like that's what got the planters removed as quick as they did. So, like, Kirby's mom deserves subscriptions. She deserves likes on her shorts, on her live streams, all that stuff. But yeah, so I'm going to look more into the UNRRA Act because it looks like I'm just looking at a sort of like AI breakdown, but it looks like if you dig into it, there's a whole lot more. Like, there's different parts of it. But the main things that I'm taking from this, though, is that the enforcement for it would be the DFEH, and that that basically it says that it ensures that all persons within California are free and equal, regardless of all those things. I'm not going to, the list is so long, but a lot of different, I don't know what to call them. A lot of different things are listed. Yeah, but it's amazing to see people, do their first stream. Like I said, I didn't get to see it live, but it was awesome to see her, branch out a bit more and do that. Like, she's been posting some shorts, but it was like a level up. And let's see. So we were at the part of Audit's comment where she was talking about the UNRRA. She had just finished her comment. And I want to point out again how they are very strict and rude with their 1 minute. They cut her off yet again, mid, sentence, mid word, but Audit handled it awesome. She still kept talking through it, finished her sentence, and she was able to say thank you. And I can't really explain why. I really like that she did that. That thank you, that adds a lot to it to me. Like, I like that aspect of Audit. Like, she'll say some stuff, but then she's like super polite. She has manners and everything. I like that. But let's get back to, I forget who the next caller's gonna be. But,
Street vacation, and
Oh.
because Amy called the Vatican City.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Haggis. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, let's discuss the worldwide criminal organization of Scientology and provide you many legal reasons why you should remove the city's affiliation with them and never ever kowtow to the lobbying lawyers that have been hired to make LRH a private street. Operation Snow White, the largest infiltration of the federal government. L. Ron Hubbard's wife and many others went to jail. Paulette Cooper, when they did the raid for Operation Snow White, it was found that they had framed Paulette Cooper with bomb charges, bomb threats. The Chase Wave, Scientology members, huge bank fraud. In Canada, there's the Queen versus the Church of Scientology. Those bricks on L. Ron Hubbard Way need to be removed. They were laid by child labor.
Thank you.
They were laid by slave labor.
Okay, so I don't know how she did it, but she got a bunch of important information in a minute. She mentioned Paulette Cooper. That's a really big topic to look into. If anyone here still does not know the story of Paulette Cooper, look at Paulette Cooper, Operation Freakout. You know, you can see some parallels with some stuff going on now. You know, it's horrible what Paulette Cooper had to go through. And I don't know what she's up to right now, but I hope that, you know, she's living her best life now. Like she was against them before, you know, a lot of us knew what was, you know, what Scientology even was. And like I said, her story is really crazy. But yeah, so she mentioned Operation Freakout with Paulette Cooper. Didn't she also mention Snow White in there? And she was mentioning how in Canada, they have the Queen versus Scientology, which I'm not familiar with Canada, but I think that's kind of like if you said, you know, the United States of America versus Scientology. I think it's on that level. I think it's like a national or federal type of situation there. King's Kid, what's up? Sorry. I'm like looking at 3 different devices and I'm like reading and speaking at the same time. I need to not multitask that much. But yeah, like you only get 1 minute to talk for your public comment. And other people have pointed out the stuff that she said, but it's good to put in as much different things as possible, in my opinion. And sometimes I see like Commissioner Grant, he takes notes. You know, I don't know if he took a note while she was speaking, but maybe he wrote down Paulette Cooper and then he's going to look into that story. You know, but like, if you're going to just talk, sometimes I just say, you know, stuff like planners permits, planners permits, planners permits, planners permits. But that's not a good comment. Like, I'll even admit that that's not doing enough. You know, they've already heard about planners and permits. They need new information, new takes on things, in my opinion. And I like how Haggis was able to get 1 minute, she got like 5, 6 different things in there of really good information. Okay, who's this?
Next up, we have Jill. Jill, you have 1 minute.
Jill.
Hi, please unentangle yourself with the cult, the child trafficking cult of Scientology. They still haven't removed the rose bushes. Additionally, they have to remove the no parking signs that are illegal. You need to also look into that brick road that Haggis just spoke about that needs to be torn up and replaced with paved road that was done under proper permitting. No more street vacation. We don't want a Vatican City, and you cannot have a theocracy. You've been infiltrated. You've been subverted. You've been totally entangled in a child trafficking operation, and it's embarrassing, and the world is watching, and you look like fools. Bye.
Okay, so obviously one of my favorite things is like her catchphrase, that bye. Like, that makes her stand out. That's how people know it's her by her voice, but they really know for sure it's her when they hear that. Like that's so her. It's her tagline. And yeah, like I love the fact that she brings up different takes, like how it could turn into the Vatican and we don't want it to turn into the Vatican. Or she, will call them Nosa Ostra. I can't say it, but like that's probably it. But like the Pinocchio thing. Like she's very creative with her little things that she brings in. She talks about, the Holocaust and stuff like that too, and paints the similarities that are between Scientology and what that evil dude with the mustache did all those years ago. Um, I really like that about her, how she has that ability to grab attention from these different things, and it doesn't get boring. She has a new tidbit to add to it each time. And it's like I'm always waiting. Like you heard me when they said Jill, I got super excited. I like hearing her comments. She is amazing. Okay. So I don't know how many people that is. It's like the 6th or 7th, maybe. But remember, they're only allowed to have 10 people. This is.
Next up, we have Miriam. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
I want to echo everything that Audit LA, Haggis, and Jill, including the others mentioned before. I want you to read very carefully through that over 70-page report that Audit LA has delivered to you guys. Because yes, the planters are gone, the baby caskets are gone, but there's still basically a ready manual for you to find out what the hell you're supposed to do with all these ADA violations. So I expect that you start the action right now. Thank you.
And again, I'm going to point out that baby casket line. It's that shock and awe factor without being too, I don't know, like without being expletive about it or too gory or morbid about it. It still gets you to that level. Like they are like baby caskets in our minds, like the little wooden, hammered together old school wooden coffins. And, that grabs attention. Like that's a really good thing that she does. And that's becoming her tagline too. She's been very consistent with bringing that up. And I will admit, sometimes in my mind, I can't remember if it's baby caskets or baby coffins, but it's the same meaning. And it's more than just the word baby casket, it's the meaning behind it and how she's relating those, they're not planters. Like they do look like coffins. And I like that she keeps bringing that up. Repetition can be bad, but repetition can also be good. And she knows how to do that repetition with bringing that up. Let's see. Oh, while we're putting links in the chat, can you put your link in there, Kirby's? And then throw audits in there too, even though I'm sure everyone in here already is subscribed to audit. But I want everyone listening and everyone on the replay crew, if you're not subscribed to Kirby's mom, go do that. Okay. But yeah, show yourself some love. Put your link, put audits link in here. Let's see who's next.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I really am like itching to get back to LA. Like if I had a way, I would be out there, and I don't know how long I could stay because it's all about accommodations, and all that, but I would really put in the time being out there and doing what I can. So if anyone is able to, if there's like some secret billionaire up in here, Venmo me enough for like a ticket and hotel for like a week or something. I mean, if you're a billionaire, I don't know, buy me a house there. But yeah. But yeah, I really need to get a computer. I think I'm gonna be able to get a computer with my taxes. But if I had a computer, I could show the screen more. I could put little, like presentations together. I could do a whole lot more. So these streams are gonna evolve as soon as I get a computer. Yeah, it was amazing going there and like being able to spend practically a whole day with you at City Hall. That was amazing. Wait, why are you putting audits up first? Take care of yourself, Kirby's. Put your link up there. I'm not gonna unpause the meeting till I see your link in my chat. Because I want everyone in my chat to go subscribe to Kirby's mom. Gotta check out that live stream. And she's also on other streams. There were a bunch of people that were streaming. Dodge was out there. Dodge went out of the country. Miriam was there, of course. A lot of people were there. But for me, it's interesting to see what they were doing over there because there's so many different laws. And Americans take for granted the rights and the freedoms that we have here. Things are so much more restricted in different countries. When you protest in other countries, you're risking more than when you're protesting here in America, in my opinion. And there's laws about you can't film someone in public. Like, I've seen people watching Miriam where they try to like go behind her to be on camera just so they can accuse her of putting them on camera, even though it's obvious that they are the ones doing that. But Fragile, what's up? Yes, and Kirby's is the one that sent the link for the inspector. Like Kirby's deserves a lot of, credit for stuff. Like she might have just done her first live stream today. But yes, Kirby's mom, go to her, click her link, subscribe to her because I said so. Or wait, I'm gonna say subscribe to Kirby's mom, and that's the bottom line. Because Ganja Girl said so. Got to put that little wrestling Stone Cold reference in there. But yeah, like, so when you go to a different country or just watch a different country and how it's protesting, realize that they have a lot more restrictions. And if you are here in America and you aren't using the rights that you have, you're kind of taking it for granted because things are harder in different countries. Like I want to get back to this meeting, but like again, like I respect people that are in other countries that are more restrictive about this and how they're going out there and they're protesting. And I just wish that the numbers would be higher in places where it's way less restrictive and there's way more freedoms. But okay, who was next? I know we're like at the end of this Zoom.
Next up, we have Mona M. You have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Good morning, commissioners. Thank you for the time to talk in front of you. I appreciate that. Yes, we are still dealing with more ADA violations that are city, state, and federal that need to be dealt with. And I wasn't going to mention this, but what came to mind when I was listening to the previous speakers was the 1977 FBI raid was the largest raid in history of the United States. And that 1977 FBI raid was on the Church of Scientology, the Blue Building, right down on L. Ron Hubbard Way. So if you think it was child trafficking or labor problems, nope. The 1977 raid on L. Ron Hubbard Way was the largest FBI raid. Thank you. I yield back my time.
Okay. I love how Mona was talking about the raid. It's good to remind them it's possible. You know, it's possible that one day someone will listen and they'll go in there and raid it because it happened before. And it makes me think of Nora's comment that we listened to yesterday on the stream, where she was speculating if, you know, the current administration with what they're doing with ICE, if they were going to go take a look at Big Blue with what Scientology does, you know, with having the easier visas or whatever, by having the religious visa. Like, there's a lot of immigration stuff going on that Scientology is attached to. And I love that Nora brought that up the other day. I mean, it's been a while ago at this point, but she brought it up in that other meeting. I'm glad that she brought that up because it's a possibility based on what Mona just said. She reminded us about how Scientology was rated back in the day. So it could happen again. Mona's amazing. And anyone that's going to hate on Mona, like, that's a reflection of them and not her. Like, I've not seen anything that's made me change my mind about Mona. All I see are tons of positives that keep adding up. Mona's amazing. Okay. So we got to be getting to the end of this because remember, there's only 10 people allowed. I know I wasn't called
Thank you.
on.
Next, we have NYFAFO. You have 1 minute. Go
Okay,
ahead.
this is really frustrating. When this happened live, I felt very offended. One thing I had remembered about this person that is about to speak is that at one point they were against Scientology. They wanted to help point out the abuses of Scientology. They wanted to, you know, help fight against the abuses. That's the one thing I really remembered about this person. Like, I did not know anything about them except, you know, that they were friends with people. But, like, I didn't know who this person was except for I had a positive thing that I heard. But they had warned previously at a different meeting that they were trying to call in and they were going to say something that people would not like. And they didn't get called on for that meeting. So they tried at this meeting. And I always speak about freedom of speech. And I still was offended by this. And I still think that they have freedom of speech. And what they said is a reflection of them. It's not a reflection of me. It's not a reflection of any of us that have been calling in over and over. You know, it's a reflection of that person. And if they chose to use their minute for a public comment to say that, that's on them. You know, just like when Goat Puppet says something, I don't like it, you know, it's on him. but I was really offended. And I don't know, but I would assume the other people that have put months and months into calling in took that a bit personal too. In these meetings, we're being told that, or we're telling them that we know what's being said about the people calling in. People are telling them stuff to make anyone speaking look bad. And we've been going there and we've brought legitimate concerns to them. We've held things together in a certain etiquette. And that kind of could make the perception of them making us look bad. But like I said, that's a reflection of the person who said it. It's not a reflection of me at all. I'm my own person. Like, they're not me. But it still hurts that they would come in and do that. And I just wish that they could find a better way to express something rather than trying to make all of us that have called in look bad. But if we start saying, you know, people can't speak, we're going to be next. You know, like, once they take someone's rights away, you never know when they're going to take yours away. But with that being said, this is New York, fuck around and find out. That's what they called in as. That's who this is.
If you don't remove that man from your streets of LA, there's going to be a problem, and that blood will be on your hands. He drove around a young man who was having a mental health breakdown and continuously egged him on and incited violence, and you allow this to proceed in your city. You are the laughing stock of the country. All the way across America, we are laughing in your faces at how ridiculous you are. And you allow one dirtbag to tell you what to do. You're pathetic. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, one last thing about that is, like I said before with F-bomb guy, if you have points to make, they're getting hidden by being that aggressive. Like, some people tone out when people have certain types of tones when they're delivering their words. And my tip, if she wanted to improve things, maybe have a softer approach. You know, you get more flies with honey than vinegar. I don't know, that's an old school saying. I don't know if that's it, but yeah, let's move on. I actually think that that was the 10th caller, if my memory is right. And I was supposed to speak right after her too. And I didn't get to. But there might be someone in between.
Next, we have Crazy Love is Love. You have 1
Okay.
minute. Go
I
ahead.
forgot about that. But let me point out, this is not me, you know, like siding or co-signing with Crazy Love is Love on anything. I do not talk to her. I don't know her as a person or anything like that. But what I will say, Crazy Love is Love could have took it to the level that the previous caller did. She didn't, though. She stuck to business with this comment. Like, she did good with this comment. And sometimes you need to know when and where. You know, when's the place, or where's the place, when's the time to do things. You can't just go into certain forums and act certain ways sometimes. So, no matter what anyone's feelings are on Crazy Love is Love, my feeling is in this particular meeting, in this particular call, she made a decision to do what was right and not follow what a friend did. She did not go that route that she could have went. And on that point, I respect that. But let's hear what she says.
Hello, City Council. I visited Los Angeles and was deeply disturbed by some behavior that I witnessed. I visited the Blue Scientology building. The security there treated an autistic man with aggression and verbally harassed him while getting into his face. This is one of my first times being down into the city. They also forced an unhoused woman who simply was trying to take a moment of rest on the sidewalk. They forced her to leave the sidewalk because she was in front of their building. I don't know how that is, helping, the community. It was a harsh reminder of how people in a vulnerable situation are often dehumanized and mistreated by the Church of Scientology. No one should be treated with such disregard, and we should hold, ourselves and institutions accountable for how we treat others. And I was deeply and utterly disgusted by the amount of trash in your city.
And she brought up some good points. She talked about how when she was there, what she saw made it, like a personal thing. She pointed out a lot in there. But let's move on.
Thank you. President Lieutenant, I wanted to make a note that we've exhausted the 10 minutes of general public comment this time.
With that, yes, City Attorney.
The board rules specify the cumulative total. Of course, it's at the chair's discretion whether to adhere to that or to allow for additional general public comment.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the general public comment portion of today's meeting and move on to multiple agenda public comment items.
Okay, so that was a dickhead move. I'm going to just say it. Like, President Corson did not have to do that. And he covered his ass by asking, what he had to do. And then he made the decision. Well, no, we're done, But he could have extended it. And if it was just a couple people, why not? And if you notice that there's more people that are now going to call or talk about the multiple agenda items, that is because they cut off the general. And if people work it the right way, you can get 3 minutes in multiple agenda items. So if you would have just had those people do their public comment, it would have saved time. Like, in reality, Corson added time to it by doing that.
For those speakers who did not get a chance to speak, if you'd like to provide public comment on a single item or multiple agenda items, please keep your hand up. We'll move on to multiple agenda item public comment now, and we'll start with Dirty N.
Okay. Again, this guy has freedom of speech. And this is F-bomb guy. Mr. Herman, and he does make points here and there, but you can't hear it because the way he delivers it. But if you try to block some of the stuff out that he's saying, you'll find a lot of good things that he's saying. I don't think they're listening because of the other stuff. It's
That's right.
oh wait, no, this isn't
Well, it's
this isn't F-bomb guy. This is Goat Puppet. So Goat Puppet is the same thing. So just switch the name, because he's a lawyer. He's very smart. But out of the people that he's speaking to in these commissions and these meetings, for the decades that he's been doing this, they're not listening to him. They're zoning out. He doesn't have the impact that he wants because they can't hear him. And I like his approach in some ways. I really do. I like the bizarreness of it. But there's stuff, like he's been doing this, going to meetings for decades. And I've seen some videos on YouTube of way back in the day. And my personal feeling is, as someone that is Jewish, like, he doesn't have the right to say bad things about Jewish people, but I don't know. It all depends on, I talk about freedom of speech, but it depends on your interpretation of that. So I don't know, but I zone out when he speaks and he starts saying some like anti-Semitic stuff. And then he says, a bunch of other stuff. But deep down, there are points and there's good points. And I wish that his points could get heard more. The good points I'm talking about, not like his. Anyways, let's hear what he has to say at this meeting.
here. All the motherfucking items for $1.77. So I went down yesterday. Let's see here. Street services, it's an interesting thing because at 844 South Hoover, I went down there and you guys showed up. You came. And see if I can provide that. Yeah, here we go. And what did you guys do? You put up this thing.
So he's showing
So
something
you're
on his phone.
covering the whole Wednesday, and you did that in 6 hours after I was here. The same fucking.
Which agenda item are you speaking to?
Shut
sir?
up. Let me talk.
This is multiple agenda item number.
That's your one warning.
But, okay. Did you notice how he was sort of like chill right there? Anyone that's listened to Goat Puppet, he like really was trying to like be chill and deliver it different. Like he still was Goat Puppet, but he was sort of, pulling it back a bit. But then they try to call him off topic, ask him what item and everything. And that just like set all of this off.
Good. Start listening.
That's your one warning.
Shut up. Stop with this bullshit. I'm talking about item one and listen to what I'm fucking saying. It's important because the reason it's important is because why would I come here and 6 hours later, something I've been complaining about, a danger on the sidewalk, gets attention?
Item
It's
one
6
is the
months.
Broadway Way Median Project. It's related to funding.
Yeah. So why is street services able to do this in 6 hours instead of a year and a half and 33 complaints? How do I get that kind of service? In the ghetto, we call it short service. Okay, that's what the. Now, I don't want cones. I want that thing cleaned and covered.
Please restrict your
Today.
comments to the agenda.
I want it
which you're
now,
speaking.
today. I don't want to see a homeless guy.
You're not speaking. You need to stick.
that.
You need to stick to an agenda item.
All right,
That was your.
let's go.
But notice as they interrupt, especially when they like team up, they are like aggressive and they're trying to like bait people to be even more aggressive. But if you know that, you can counter it. But they're being aggressive, and they're teaming up right now.
We've already given. It's not gonna help us. We need to get that thing covered clear. This is bullshit. But you see, at least.
Please
coming
restrict your
here,
comments to item 3, which is on the
risking
North Outfall Sewer
arrest.
Rehabilitation Unit.
At least coming here and risking arrest got something done that we couldn't do in a year and a half, complaining to the council office and 311. See, that's the problem. All these people are on the phone with the same bullshit that they're going to try to talk about. That's why you only get 10 minutes of public comment. That's why.
Please restrict your items, your comments.
Okay. If we can have our security officer please escort this gentleman outside the room, please.
Let's see. In a criminal conspiracy to deny public services to
You receive
tax down.
You receive more than one warning.
Okay.
Thank.
Okay, so now security's up there with him, and they move. The security is moving the microphone.
Your public comment time has been
He's not even by the microphone
Please stop
anymore.
disrupting the meeting.
But
Sir, you've been given multiple warnings and you're continuing to disrupt the meeting.
he's not really being disruptive. He could have been more disruptive.
Great. Just as a reminder, all individuals, you have one warning and then you'll be removed from the meeting for disrupting the meeting.
Okay, but notice how, like, I don't know, maybe arrogant Corson's voice sounds like that tone he's using after that. It's like that power. And I don't know, but Go Puppet had a point. And I don't know if everyone heard it, but he was talking about the people calling in and how they were trying to limit that. And he's a lawyer, so I feel like he knows, and he's been doing these meetings and stuff. I feel if anyone knows like Brown Act stuff, he knows that. If he, like, if he is thinking that something is wrong and that they're doing it targeting, like to try to suppress a certain group of people based on their belief from being able to call in and give their public comment, then maybe there is something wrong with them changing those rules. And I wish that that's another thing I want to bring up, the rule change, which is a huge deal, where they cut the time down to a minute. They implemented it before the mayor even signed off on it, from what I know. I'm pretty sure that there's something wrong with doing that. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't know these things. But I don't know. There's probably a lot of violations of people's rights. Yeah, like, you kind of have to. It's just, but he was trying to be chill. If you know Goat Puppet, that was him, pulled back a lot on that day, in my opinion. Even his reaction to getting kicked out, he was chill about it. Okay, who's next? For multiple agenda items.
All right, next we have Transgender Queen for items 5 and 6. You will have 2 minutes.
Okay, so that shirt guy, and again, he has different random names all the time, so they're not going to just call him shirt guy.
Thank
Thank you. I wish.
Oh, and wait, I want to point that out. Okay, they've listened to me a few times. When I have pointed out things, they took care of it that day. Not with the planners, but with other stuff that didn't seem to be related to Scientology, so maybe that was the barrier with it. But I had mentioned that there was a post in the road right by the mailbox by La Poubelle, and someone could just drive and try to, say they're doing like Uber Eats or DoorDash and they're trying to pull in there and just go in the loading zone, run in there, grab the food, come out. So they're crossing the intersection of Bronson and then boom, they could just not see it and hit this pole, this huge wooden pole that was out there. Like, so I said something about it and they actually did listen to me. And that same day, they put some type of that the stuff they have at Scientology, those white and orange folding barricade things, they put one of those up or something so that you could at least see it and notice it. And that's what he's kind of talking about. They kind of fixed it, but they could have fixed it a whole lot. Like they just, they didn't really fix it at that point, but immediately they did do something. But it was like some really stupid, non-solution. Eventually it was removed, but I'm talking about like them putting up that barricade. But okay.
Today,
Sure,
this
guy.
attorney does not have to kick me out. Number 5 is Bureau of Street Services. I want to continue my comments on the previous meeting, the street services. I want to report to our board president that the dangerous street condition on the Hollywood Boulevard. One night, I finished my auditing session on Hollywood Boulevard. I was walking home because again, I don't have transportation, and then I fall down. Nobody there helped me, except Audit LA helped me, and then she carried me on her shoulder, and then we were able to, go through the freeway and went to home. But again, I want to inform our president that the next time I fall down, I will not be lucky. Like today, if I fall down on the street, there's no Audit LA can carry me on her shoulder. I will not be that lucky. So I don't know how many times I have to come here and crying about the street services that our president can care about this issue instead of just kicking me out every single meeting. So next item, let's continue on the item number 6. Is the Bureau of Sanitation. It's on-call maintenance services. I'm here to support our president on this on-call maintenance services because I believe that should be the business model that we can implement all over the city. What I mean by that is if our neighbor saw an illegal trash dumpster, let's just say down the street, they should be able to call the public work, call the Bureau of Sanitation. So somebody should taking care of that illegal trash dump site within, let's just say within a week, within several days. But again, it's not happening. We see on the news, KTLA, CBSLA, MSNBC, that the people reporting those trash dump site, but public work are not responding to the call.
And that was a really good public comment for Sure Guy. Or I guess multiple agenda items. It's all public comments, but it's specific multiple agenda. But that was really good. There's times where he sings, and he'll do it in a different language so that they don't know what he's saying. And he'll sneak some stuff in there. And, he does troll a lot with his comments. He says ridiculous stuff. He has ridiculous names. I don't know about the name that he signed up under this week that we're watching, but he picks different names all the time. And one of the biggest positive qualities about him is he's raising up Audit LA all the time. Like he's he's got her back. And like, she wasn't there in person for this one. So he sort of, I think, made it more serious for this one. Like, I noticed little things like that. When she's not there in person, he sort of picks up the slack a little bit and makes sure to add stuff, even if she's on the Zoom. Like, but he steps up, and I really like the bond that we get to see between Shirt Guy and Audit LA. Yes, like, and I feel like the whole community of people that watch Audit LA and know Shirt Guy, like, it's kind of like we adopted him, you know, like we 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 got his back too. Yes, that's very admirable of him. He's a good guy, and I'm glad he did not get sucked in to Scientology.
We have another speaker card for N Puppet.
Okay. So
You'll have 3 minutes.
this is confusing because Goat Puppet, as you remember, he got removed. And when he signed up, he had the N-word in his name. And this one does too. But this is Mr. Herman speaking. This is F-bomb guy. And it looks like he has a puppet.
Okay, Baldy. Now listen here very clearly, Mr. Baldy. It sounds like you're having some median projects on Broadway. Is that correct, Baldy? Now, prior to all this shit, these impermissible restraints of our First Amendment that you continue to violate, and I only get 10 fucking minutes to participate. I'm gonna get a.
Please keep your comments with the agenda.
You're president, and like, so I'm talking about the fucking restraint services.
Okay. And I don't know if you can notice it, but on Zoom, they were messing with his mic or something because it kept cutting out. And the audio we're hearing is from the Zoom from Mona, Fat Grammy's channel. And she, you know, like was on the Zoom and I was on the Zoom too. And like it's the actual audio on the Zoom started suspiciously like out of nowhere. The podium mic started going crazy and cutting out.
Fucking expenditures. Don't you
I know that it was edited for certain words, but I'm hearing stuff that's not those words getting cut out. Unless every single one of those spots had to be edited out. I don't know, Audit. You edited this video, but like how much of that is the bad words? How much is that of the mic acting up?
Oh, I'm just a puppet. Look at him. I'm Grove Street, Busy County are requesting execution of the church. Shit, short balls. Mr. Cool shit. Extra shit. And you're fucking bullshit on the budget. We're sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick. So,
Please keep your comments restricted to the agenda item. Sorry, please speak to one of the agenda items.
Yeah, like so they're messing with his mic. You can hear their mic so perfect. And the podium mic never messes up like that. So the timing
We'll
of
move on
it.
to the multiple agenda item.
Thank you, President Corson. We have a few more folks who have raised their hands, so I'll just check what type of comment
Exactly.
they're requesting to
So
make as well.
because they cut us off and wouldn't let us do the general public comment, we raised our hands and we jumped on that multiple agenda item, which ended up being more time because of that. Like, so it doesn't make sense at all why he wouldn't have just let public comment. Like, it would have been more efficient to let public comment continue.
Caller Gigi's phone, you raised your hand again. Are you wishing to make a multiple agenda item comment?
Yes, I'd like to speak on items 1, 2, and 5.
Thank you. Lurker, I notice you raised your hand again. Are you wishing to make a multiple agenda item comment?
Yes, please and thank you.
Which items are you wishing to speak on?
5. Please and thank you.
Thank you.
And again, you get like 3 minutes, a minute per topic. So you go through the agenda and you look for stuff. And if it's about money, you can find a way to tie that to what you want to talk about. You know, like there's certain things, but if you pick 3 of them or all of them, you get the maximum time. This is the public works for Los Angeles. And so if you just say one item, you really should wait. If it's one item, you should wait till that topic's presented and then speak on it. But if you do one item, you only get a minute to speak. So, you know, it's important to like, I don't know.
And lastly, we have Carla. Are you wishing to make a multiple agenda item comment today?
Hello, yes, please, on item 1, 2, and 5, please.
Thank you.
Audit, I was listening on the Zoom and it was like that too. So it wasn't Mona's computer. Like I heard on the Zoom, it was acting up too. So, and then, this is March 8th. I assume, because there's 2 of them. It's the first one of the thing.
Okay, we have Audit LA. You wish to speak on all items. You can go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I do have I want to let you know that your microphone wasn't working in case anyone else wants to come in public. And I also have a point of clarity.
Okay, so right there, you just said it, Audit. The microphone wasn't working. It was on Zoom. Like I couldn't hear it on Zoom. They were messing with it. And I'm glad you put that in the record, but they don't take their minutes the right way. And they're supposed to summarize what each commenter is saying. And they should have said that there was a complaint about that. Like they're supposed to, I don't know, but I'm going to rewind it just a few seconds to hear that again.
Clarification question.
All items. You can go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I do have I want to let you know that your microphone wasn't working in case anyone else wants to come in public. And I also have a point of clarification question for the city attorney. I have submitted several cure and corrects, and I have not heard anything back as to whether they are being addressed. And there will be another one coming today. That being said, let's go at number 5, the street services report. Okay. I don't know what they're going to say because you put all this comment in the beginning. And so I'm just going to have to guess or put what I would like to see in the report. I want to see in the report what is going on at L. Ron Hubbard Way. Okay, I agree with all the comments that I would like to see the brick streets torn up. I mean, everyone says, oh, it's beautiful. It is. But it was, I can bring you in person the children who, as children, had to, under slave labor, now it's like some kind of celebration, had to help lay those bricks. And it's disgusting. We should be a society that does not stand up for any kind of coerced slave labor, even if it's, they get away with it because it's a religious activity. So that's the street project I want done. I want that torn up. And I wish we could rename it the street because it's named after a felon. But at the very least, it should be torn up. And if you want to put brick down again, that's fine. But it should be put down by people who are paid correctly. Because even now, you guys gave them on that street a permit to repair it. And the other day I was there and I have film footage of one of their, not only a slave labor, but under punishment, because he's in the RPF, which is a prison system within their own system, vacuuming L. Ron Hubbard Way. That was his job that day. Vacuuming and public streets.
Related to the item.
It is number 5, right? We're talking about street. I don't know what they're going to report on because I don't get to speak afterwards, so I can only presume. I can also give advice as to what, right? I can suggest what I want them to deal with. You cannot say that that's not on topic, Ms. Happenstance. And so I am asking you to put these things on the agenda on the topic. And you know what? We can go into number 6 too, right? Because 6 is on-call sanitation. So you know what? They should be on call. This is more advice that they are on call to get rid of the remaining. When I believe all the planners, thank God, are gone, and it's not thanks to you. I mean, and I'm not knocking you personally. I mean you, the city. Okay, because the city, okay, they're putting in hearings or whatever, but it was canceled till whenever. It took my viewers putting money together because for this report that is in your email boxes. You have it too, Ms. Hoppenstein. Please review it. Okay. And there's more to be removed. Okay. Like the roses. So I'm asking you to use that on-call sanitation to finish with what needs to be taken out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have Georgina. Georgina, you.
Okay. But going to what audit said, like, they have the capability to have the timer on the screen on Zoom. They should let people on Zoom know what the timer says. You can run a stopwatch, but how do you know if you're starting it at the right time? And then the camera, they could just move it over slightly and have the timer on there. Sometimes if audit shows the timer and I'm on Zoom, I can like figure out how much lag there is and I can somewhat know how much time I have. But why does it have to be so complicated? If they're going to screw us over with the time and not give us much time, at least let us know how much time we have. Like, let us see a timer. I've seen it on Zoom. It's totally possible. Okay, so next one is Antics. And she's been a really good addition. Like, she's amazing.
Indicated you wish to speak on all items. You have 3 minutes. You can go ahead.
Thank you. I think I actually just want to address agenda item number 5. I also don't know what's in the report, so I'll talk about what I want to be addressed, and that's the fact of the street closures by Church of Scientologies on L. Ron Hubbard Way. It's really greatly impacting traffic flow. That street is a major artery to 2 major hospitals. Kaiser Hospital and Children's Hospital are right next to there. And the fact that that street gets closed, blocking off hospital access, emergency access, is critical in my opinion and needs to be addressed. I don't understand why that street is not open up to parking. I think metered parking should be put in place there. That would greatly benefit both hospitals and the neighborhood, and it would raise revenue to make some of the street improvements that needed. And I don't understand why Church of Scientology has been being given special privilege that they have their own street. Neither of the hospitals have an entire street blocked off and closed just for their use only. But Church of Scientology does. it does, one of the other callers mentioned, the Vatican City. It does feel like you're safe pointing Scientology to have their own, space, their own Vatican City within the midst of Hollywood. And that street is very necessary to both of those hospitals and the neighborhood. And I, give back my time. Thank you.
Now, notice how she brought up Amy's Vatican thing. Like, that was powerful when Amy said it, but then to bring it back again, like, to reference, like, things like that previous people had said, I feel that's a good thing. To acknowledge the things that the people who got ahead of you, said that you agree with, that's a good thing to do. I feel like it's good to give props to the stuff that they said before you, because you might be able to sort of skip talking about some stuff so you can focus on other points, but still make sure you get in there that, I agree with what Audit said. Audit was talking about this, and like, she totally was right. I don't even have to go on because she said it, and then move on to your next thing. Like, but I think that matters. But I like the callback to Amy's Vatican thing.
Next up, we have Lurker. You indicated you wish to speak on item 5. You have 1 minute. You can go ahead.
Hi, I am just dumbfounded. For decades, people have been coming to the city council and speaking on this one particular street. I won't even name it because its name has been said too often.
It's this lady, right? I'm going to have to wait for a response, and there's a lag in the chat. But this lady, this is the one you want to know. Did she say her name? I didn't catch it. Like, I'll go back and... Is this Nisa? Is this who you were talking about, Audit?
Go ahead. Next up, we have Lurker. You indicated you wish to speak on item 5. You have 1 minute. You can go ahead.
Hi.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So that's Great Grandma. That's who it is. Great Grandma's been an awesome addition. I didn't know it. You said Lurker, so I had no idea who it was either. But awesome job. Okay. Since I've been like stopping and stuff, let me go back to the beginning of her comment thing.
Thank
you. Next up, we have Lurker. You indicated you wish to speak on item 5. You have 1 minute. You can go ahead.
Hi. I am just dumbfounded. For decades, people have been coming to the city council and speaking on this one particular street. I won't even name it because its name has been said too often for decades. This is absolutely ridiculous. I give back my time and make your time count.
Thank you.
What I really loved about that is the passion. That passion, you could feel it. That was amazing. And then how you said you didn't even have to mention the name of the street. Like, but that passion, you're so good with that passion. Like, I get goosebumps.
Next up, we have Gigi's phone. You indicated you wish to speak on items 1, 2, and 5. You have 3 minutes. You can go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. And I just want to point out, I say that a lot. I know that they can hear me, but I really wish that they didn't start the timer before and they started when I started talking and that didn't count. Because that sometimes is a good way to sort of like add a little bit more time and just whatever. But my thing with that is like that Verizon commercial, can you hear me now? Like, can they hear me? And are they listening? Are they paying attention? Okay. Street services. And I'm going to bring up the street that the others are bringing up, L. Ron Hubbard, and how. Okay. But notice how I said that? Like, in the agenda, they were very, like, in general, how they listed that. They did not give any information. And there's a packet you could go through, and it's like usually hundreds of pages long, and they don't really distinguish when it goes to a different item number. So you have to like try to figure out where it is in that packet and whatever. But if it mentions something about the streets and I don't know because I can't hear the presentation first, I can just come to any conclusion that's like a reasonable conclusion from that. Like, so why not talk about the street I want to talk about? You know, so if you're trying to do multiple agenda items and you don't really know what the item's about, certain keywords can help you out. And the less general they are, the less information they give, the better. And when they talk about money, that's a good one to jump on too. Always something to say about money. Street services needs to do their job more when it comes to L. Ron Hubbard Way. There's signs there that are saying there's no parking, but they are not valid, legitimate signs. If you look in that report that was given to you, you can see documentation of that on finding 14. So that street should be made into parking, and that ties into items 1 and 2. That's a lot of money, in my opinion. Maybe not to a city, but to me, that's a lot of money. A way to get the city more money would be turn L. Ron Hubbard into metered parking, and any other streets that for some reason have no parking on it for no legitimate reason, turn it into metered parking and get that money for the city so that you can do things that cost a lot of money, like in items 1 and 2. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you.
And yet again, I'll point out that whole I yield my time, that's a Mona thing. Like, I totally was inspired by Mona with that.
President Corsand. Actually, sorry, we have one more person and then one additional caller has raised their hand. Are you right if I check what they would like to make as far as public comment?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we'll start with you, Carla. You indicated you'd like to speak on items 1, 2, and 5. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, hello. Regarding items number 1 and 2, these are two items in which you are requesting the approval for the execution of $23,000 and $24,000, which, by the way, that's not a lot of money for the city, but it's a lot of money for a lot of us. Now, I'm wondering why. First, where is that money coming from? And second, why is the building of Harvard Way, who has been for 8 months having those planters being not 8-day compliance, are not being fined for the amount of months in which they caused destruction to the sidewalks, and they did not permit people with disability to walk around. And I'm sorry to
the items which you're addressing.
Yeah, I'm referring to the funding because there's a lot of money that the city is missing because they're not fining the Church of Scientology for all the violations of all the codes, ADA compliant codes. And going to number 5, number 5 is about the major street project update and the oral reports. I found a document here that explains a little bit more about how Streets LA is going to do press releases and information about this particular project that doesn't explain very much. It's just a report saying that they're going to do a report. But what I want to say is, like, regarding the street vacation, the project of the street vacation of Elro Harbor Way, I think that every stakeholder that is directly affected, people who are have to go to the hospital, people who work in the hospital, people who are in the boards of the hospitals, all the neighbors, everybody in the community should be reported about the lobby that is being done on that street. And we should protect that street and make it available to the public to prevent this from happening. There's, Audie LA mentioned the kids that were working to put those bricks. There's another ex-member of the Church of Scientology. Her name is Tori Chrisman. She has been out for 20 years, and she was a lobbyist for the Church of Scientology, a wonderful PR person. She was very, very good at her job. And she is the one who worked on the campaign to name the street Elron Hubbard. And she mentioned when she left, she's now speaking against the Church of Scientology and speaking.
Are you speaking
giving
out of
so many
number 5, please?
Yeah, I'm talking about the particular case of a street project in which she presented the case in which people were lying about being neighbors of Elron Hubbard Way, and they were presenting that they wanted to call the street like that, and that was a lie. And I'm afraid that
that's your time for today. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so there's so much there to like speak positive about with Carla, but I want to point out she did that callback thing. She talked about what Audit had said, and when they told her she was off topic, it didn't rattle her. She kept going. And she comes with a lot of facts, and she uses jargon. Like, if you use jargon that's specific to like the industries that you're talking about, it makes a difference.
Kenny, are you wishing to speak on multiple agenda item comment?
Again, everyone has freedom of speech. And if you choose to use the freedom of speech to say whatever, that's your choice. I feel that there's a time and place for things. I may agree with some people on certain things, but it's not the place and it's not the time. I am not saying anything negative about Kenny at all. I'm just saying that whole situation of people taking it to a different level, that's not what these meetings are about. It's like it's not, it's not the place. That's all I gotta say, like, over and over. It's not the place. Like, I'm not coming at him or New York, fuck around and find out. I'm not coming at them. But I just feel like there's different arenas for things, and that just wasn't the place. But freedom of speech. And, you got that freedom of speech, and I don't want that freedom of speech taken away from you by a government entity, which would be Public Works Commission. So this is Kenny and what he said.
Today? You can star 610, mute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Are you wishing to speak on multiple agenda item comment today?
Yeah, everything I can.
All items, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
They got people like Minnie Fart Frog with brown on their nose, calling knocking the real protester DOA who is out there putting boots on the ground. What about the funding that's being swatted? How did you pay for them frogs, Minnie Fart Frog?
To the agenda item.
Yeah, but she's calling in there making false allegations, trying to assassinate somebody's character.
Stay on one of the agenda items.
Well, look, Minnie Fart Frog, fuck you, Scientology is a cult, kids.
Thank you.
Okay. After having a refresher of what exactly he said, I agree with a lot of what he said. I'm not going to keep, speaking on it and bringing it up, but I agree with a lot of points he had, but that wasn't the place for it. And I just hope people can see, like, it. I don't know. We're all individuals, and it's a reflection of the person doing it. Just like what I say is a reflection of me and no one else. But just, we've been going to these meetings for a long time, and it's just not the place. But with that said, I do agree on a lot. I would have said it differently, but I do agree with a lot of stuff he said.
Okay, with that, we have I think we just go ahead and remove them. There we go.
Yep.
And with that, we'll close the multiple agenda item.
ASL interpreter Brian, I see your hand raised. Would you like to offer commentary this morning?
Okay, so there's like lost media that'll never be recovered. No one will ever be able to hear the comment from the previous meeting by the speaker. But they did an amazing comment. I was on the Zoom and Miriam was streaming it. And we didn't get to hear it because some technical difficulty, something. But Miriam had to refresh the Zoom or whatever. And by the time she was done, it's time's up. It's not much time. So they anyone on Zoom heard it. And the speaker's comments the first time were super amazing. These comments are good too, but I wish that people would have had a chance to hear that comment from that previous meeting. But let's hear what he has to say on March 8th.
Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Please. Thank you.
So
good morning.
I guess they're not going to him. I don't know.
Morning, yes, please.
This is Henry, if someone didn't know. Oh, my bad. This wasn't from March 8th. This is March 12th. That's why there's confusion with me. So we're into the next meeting. And they're just getting the names and what they're talking about, I think. But yeah, the ASL interpreter, that's the one his comment, it's lost. But anyone that heard it knows how powerful that comment was. And it's a shame. But let's see who's on. So Henry was on here. And it's going, there's just no audio.
I'm gonna go back.
Able to hear you. As Mona said before, there was nothing audible before that. I kept saying it being muted and unmuted.
Okay, so the context for that was the thing would send you a thing saying, do you want to unmute? But you couldn't hear the person asking that you couldn't hear anything, but randomly they'd send you the thing asking if you want to unmute. So some people weren't responding to it because they didn't hear anyone say their name or, you know, ask them if they were going to speak. So we were just sitting there with like no audio. And then they get mad when we bring it up. And TJ Knight's been, you know, like, he's been pissy lately. I don't know.
I ask you what may be considered a simple question. Would you like to offer commentary on any of our agendized items or public comment this morning? I'm going to ask you to unmute and respond to that question. Thank you.
I'm happy to respond to the question. I don't need to be talked to like I'm in preschool, however. I would like to do general comment and agenda item number 4. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go with the in-person cards. Go Puppet.
So here we have 8th Street, 2600 West 8th Street. It's a cavernous hole. And it's been there a long time. But that's in a brown skin community, not those fucking Jew communities that you guys provide good services to.
Again, freedom of speech. His views are his own views. They're not my views.
So that's over in what you call Westlake. And that is a rather deep hole, you know? So what happened is that your city just let the thing fall down and nobody comes out and fixes it. Your city councilwoman Hamburger Hernandez doesn't give a fuck about it either because she's too busy eating hamburgers. So you see, if that were in Encino, shit, boom, 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 that would have been done, you know, the next day. So anyway, that is down the street from an electric light repair project that was done. And still they left the trash so the homeless fentanyl users can cut through that fence and go in there and set another fire, which they did 3 weeks before.
And that's 1 minute. Thank you.
So anyway, fuck all of you.
Thank you. We'll go next to MD Media.
And this is really awesome. We all know MD is amazing with being out there, you know, going to all different locations for a long amount of time. But it's always nice when he shows up at City Hall. Like, he's already doing a lot. So I don't expect him to be there all the time. But it's really awesome when he shows up.
Morning, Council. Thank you for letting me speak. There, street petition on the LRH way. Scientology is trying to get that street shut down permanently for ungodly reasons. We don't know why, but they're just trying to also keep us protesters from protesting there. When there's revenue that they could be bringing in, if they put parking meters there as well, that would help bring in revenue for the city. Also, I've noticed they're doing unpermitted work on LRH Way on the roof across the street at 1334 LRH Way. I haven't seen anyone out there with permits. There's people out there doing work without permits. Thank you. That's all.
Good job, MD.
Mr. Knight, would like to move us over to the virtual platform?
And if I remember correctly, him talking about the unpermitted work sort of inspired my comment too.
Very well, President Carson. We'll start with Georgina McPhee. You have 60 seconds to offer your commentary. Good morning. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm also calling about the permanent street closures or the constant street closures that have been happening on L. Ron Hubbard Way. That street is a direct artery to 2 major hospitals. The fact that it's allowed to ever be closed is unfathomable to me. It's an emergency access route. It needs to be opened up for the people 24 hours, 7 days a week. It needs to have public parking and meters installed. It needs to be accessible for everyone. Thank you.
We'll move next to Mona M, followed by Lurker. Go ahead, Mona M.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Good morning, commissioners. Hello, board. It's me again, Mona. Two things. One, I seen this morning that over on Catalina and Fountain, they are removing those thorny plants that are in violation of city code. I appreciate that. The planters are gone. I appreciate that. I'll be true to my word and not bother you so much anymore. Hopefully this street vacation will not be endorsed or promoted, and the Board of Public Works will take that into consideration. So no endorsement or promotion for the street vacation on LRH Way. Thank you, and I yield back my time.
We'll move next to Lurker, followed by Jill.
Okay. Lurker, are you in here? Yeah, you're still in here. Okay.
Hello, hello.
Yes, go ahead. You have 60 seconds to offer your commentary.
I just gotta say, for decades, I've been seeing that organization fighting for that street. This is insane. I'm 82 years old. I've been watching it since it's only been on 3 channels. Please and thank you. You can't do nothing while you're there, but how about when you leave this room? Can you do something then? Please and thank you very much. Love you all.
Jill.
Again, I'm feeling that passion. Like, that's powerful. Is there like a technical difficulty all of a sudden?
I'm here again. I'm sorry. I'm here.
But see, like, those technical difficulties are just weird. I don't know.
Can you hear me? Okay, but I'm gonna continue, something's wrong with my phone. Continuing along the line of the planters and the thorny rose bushes and the street vacation, you've only emboldened this child trafficking cult by not going ahead and removing those planters and thorny bushes. They've become emboldened, they're doing what they want, they're doing unpermitted work, they're creating a danger to workers by not doing the right thing. By you doing that, you've also emboldened them to file false criminal charges against Scott Hochstetter, and it's inappropriate. You've just given them a lot of chutzpah to do what they're doing.
And I personally like how she brought up Scott, because in my opinion, like, those planners should have been gone. They should have done their job. And with them not doing their jobs, the planners remained there when they shouldn't have been there. So that's relevant to bring up to them. And of course, bye. I can't do it like her, but you got it.
And we'll move next to Adelaide, followed by Gigi.
Yes, good morning. I want to take the aspect of the permits, the street closure permits. They're getting a new round of permits, and I am asking and requesting and begging somebody to put limits on these things. I don't believe that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as notifications. I haven't seen anything about that. But we need to have a cap on how many street closure permits we can have in a year. As of now, they can have one every single weekend, all year round. There has to be limits. So there needs to be a law or some kind of rule that maybe that no more than once a month, and even that's too much. But the community needs their street. It needs to be open. It's a major artery to hospitals, to the metros. And they have the name of the street. They have they adopted the street. That's enough. They don't need a street vacation, and they don't need a backdoor street vacation with endless permits. Something needs to be done. Again, it's true, they are trying to get
2 seconds. Then we'll move next to Gigi, followed by ASL interpreter. Go ahead, Gigi.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so I kind of want to speak on something that the in-person speaker MD was speaking about with the unpermitted construction or whatever. There's something that he did not mention, but I saw the other day they were receiving at the horseshoe entrance of the blue building on Catalina. They were receiving building materials, which I don't know enough about what they're called, but little flat pieces of wood, and when you dig trenches or holes, Okay, you use them.
And I misspoke there. They're not wood. I think they're a different material. But it turns out what I'm speaking about, they brought a machine in that was like really heavy, so it's supposed to protect the concrete. But they're working with the big crack, and they also had to like flatten parts of the ground over there to have these big machines, big heavy machines go there. And as I was looking at the cracks, I think that there's more than one crack. Like there's the one crack and they painted over it. And then if you look, there's parts that you see of the crack that aren't painted over where they drilled in that big metal thing. Like right where they drilled it in, there's a crack. And then I think I saw a crack on 2 different sides of it. Now, I might be wrong, but I really think that there's additional cracking going on there. So I hope that they just somehow demolish it and patch up that area, like just get rid of it. But there's a lot more cracks in my opinion. And that should be a focus now too. People haven't been talking about the cracks at the meetings.
To keep it stable. They received tons of them. And the people dropping them off said that they're for trenches, they're for holes, stuff like that. I'm wondering if Scientology has a permit to be doing any work that's involving trenches or holes, and if they have the permits for the building materials. And I can't find anything myself about this. So that should be looked into given their record of unpermitted work. Thank you.
Okay. But at the time I gave this comment, I had no idea what they were. I saw people that were delivering it that they said they're for building trenches and for when you dig holes. So I was going off that information, but like they do have a record of unpermitted stuff. And whatever they did, even if it wasn't a hole, I don't know if that's permanent or not. And they make it very hard to figure that stuff out. Like the public trying to figure out if there's a permit for something is very hard to do. So like, I don't know, if they have a record of doing unpermitted stuff, why is there no like action taken about that? When there's a record of other stuff, there's no actions taken. Like, it makes no sense unless, there maybe could be collusion, and I don't know. Like, it looks more and more like that in my mind. That there's a lot of collusion with a lot of different parties. But I don't know.
We'll move next to ASL interpreter Brian.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I'm addressing the street vacation on Lafayette or Hubbard Way. This morning, Jamie Mustard, who grew up here in LA, gave his account of growing up in Scientology and Sea Org and what the children organizations they had from an infant to 12 or 13 when he was put to physical work. This amount of physical, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse is rampant. The ecclesiastical staff believe that children are adults in small bodies so they can do whatever they want to them. This religion clergy did not follow the requirements for mandated reporters to report to agencies about this. Same thing happened in Denmark, in Copenhagen, all over where Scientology is located. These things are happening. when First Amendment auditors are documenting these abuses and crimes from the street, which is open at this point, but soon to be given away if you do this, the church gets involved, trying to get your approval to shut them street down so they can do these activities and all kinds of other illegal things right under your nose with your blessing. Thank you.
We'll move next to Phil Appelis.
I just want to talk directly on the illegal street vacation that the cult criminal racket known as Scientology is trying to do on L. Ron Hubbard Way via Bill Delvac and his little minion, Dan Reardon. Yeah, listen, man, all right? This board needs money and so does the city. You can easily put up at least 24 parking meters there. And the fact of the matter is, this criminal racket doesn't even pay for these event permits. They just do it unlawfully. So how about you generate some money? We all like money. I know you like money. I love money. The audience likes money. So how about you generate some money for the city? You guys are going broke. All right. This cult doesn't pay you money. So force them to by putting up some parking meters on L. Ron Hubbard Way and stop this street vacation nonsense. Get some damn money in your pockets. I like money. You like money. That's really the bottom line. Put some parking meters on there. It's a public street. Let's get some money for the city. Let's stop this nonsense and let's make some money. It's just that simple. Give them, make
60 seconds, President.
That was a very strong comment from Henry. Like, for me, that metered parking and getting money for the city, I love that. Like, and it makes so much sense. Like, the city of Los Angeles is always in need of money, and that would increase the money that they have.
Carson, that concludes public commentary. However, I do see an additional hand raised on the Zoom platform. If you'd like, I can ask the attendee if they would like to offer public comment.
Did we already meet the 10-minute threshold?
Yes.
Okay. We can ask if they'd like to speak on a single item or multiple agenda item, but for now we will be closing the general public comment portion for today's meeting.
Very well.
Again, notice he has a choice. And President Corson, every single time, chooses to not let them speak. Like, he has the opportunity to say, yes, go ahead, ask them. But no, he closes public comment and moves on to multiple agenda items.
Children's voices matter. Would you like to offer commentary on any of our agendized items? Please note that the presiding officer has closed public comment this morning.
No, just general comment. Children's voices matter.
I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute. Thank you. That concludes.
Okay. That right there, like, just still speaking over him. I mean, why not? Like, at that point, if you know that they're not going to let you speak your public comment, then take a sentence or something and say it.
Okay, we'll move on to multiple agenda item public
So,
comment.
okay, technically, let's rewind that though. Technically, he said afterwards, it sort of might have got missed because I stopped it, but he said afterwards that with that general public comments over. But I don't know, like, if he started to let someone speak and it wasn't closed, is that a thing? I don't know. Let's go back maybe 20 seconds.
No public comment portion for today's meeting.
Okay, wait, more than 20.
Nonsense. Get some damn money in your pockets. I like nonsense, and let's make some
additional hand raised on the Zoom platform. If you'd like, I can ask the attendee if they would like to offer public comment.
Did we already meet the 10-minute threshold?
Yes.
Okay. We can ask if they'd like to speak on a single item or multiple agenda item, but for now we will be closing the general public comment portion for today's meeting.
Very well.
Okay, so he closed it.
Matter.
He closed it, and then he said it, asked, and then he closed it again. So he like double closed, and that's what threw me off because I know I heard him say he closed, but he said it like twice.
would you like to offer commentary on any of our agendized items? Please note that the presiding officer has closed public comment this morning.
No, just general comment. Children's voices matter.
I'm going to go ahead and put you back on mute. Thank you. That concludes public comment this morning.
Thank you. We'll move on to multiple agenda item public comment. Go Puppet.
All right. So now this is the bullshit portion. You have to tie your Rob general public comment into an item. People are just sick in the mind, man. But you're talking about today, I think the Sepulveda Basin. There's no fucking streetlights in the Sepulveda Basin at all. Victory Boulevard to Woodley to Burbank to Balboa. 78% of the streetlights have been out for the past 2.5 years. And I see millions of.
Okay. I gotta point this out because it's like distracting me, but you can't see the video. If you want to see the video, there's video of it on Audit LA and Fat Grammy. But at this point, TJ comes in and he starts fidgeting with the camera and everything. And it's like, why does he have to do that? Like, it's in the middle of it. There's not an issue with it. But he just comes to distract while Goat Puppet is speaking. That just makes me wonder, But yeah, if you want to see footage, it happens about 50 minutes in to the Public Works 38312 on Audit LA.
Dollars on that agenda. You have a project. How can you have a project when you don't even have any streetlights? The parking lots to the park are left wide open so fentanyl users, human traffickers, drug addicts, and thieves can go in and set little fires and burn the shit out of the entire basin. The park ranger doesn't even come in and lock the gates at night. And you have a project? And then I see this crawl back. What? You're going to crawl back $1.4 million. How are you going to crawl that back? You're going to spend it and then you're going to get it back. So in other words, you're going to ask the federal government for a refund, or are you going to apply the money as a loan? So is the Board of Public Works going to borrow $1.4 million from the general fund with an IOU, subject to return of federal funds? Of course not. That money's never going to be fucking seen. Are you kidding? Trump is going to give you 1.4. He isn't going to give you anything. Why are the fucking streetlights out? Why? I call Imelda Padilla's office at 213-473-7006 every week, wondering when they're going to turn our streetlights on. I did a complaint recently at 311 on the intersection of Burbank and Woodley. Got a case number. Hasn't done shit. But I do know this. The crews came out in CD1 yesterday, and I spent a lot of time talking to them about this and watching how they do it. There's little fuses in the ground in the wires, and the little fuses and the lights go out. Now they can change a fuse, and then they can turn the lights back on. Then they sometimes have to go on the pole, and it's a sensor, a day and night active sensor. So why are 78% of the lights out in this major thoroughfare where they've had cars chases, they've had burglary suspects drive down Woodley, and the cops can't find them because there's no lights? And you guys are going to pour $2.4 million in. So what is it you guys really are doing? Are you guys going to redevelop the area? We're leasing it from the Federal Department of Engineering, the engineers. So you tell me, turn the streetlights back on and stop robbing us.
That's 3 minutes.
So he has a really good point, and I was able to hear it more because of the way he delivered it that time. But to me, it sounds like if there's just like a really easy common fix for a lot of the lights, why are there issues with so many of them? Like, some of them might need more work, but if it's just like a fuse, like he says, how come there's so many that aren't fixed after so many complaints? But then again, you see how we complain about
legitimate things that are ADA non-compliant, and they don't care about that. So, I mean, it takes a lot of time to do anything, I guess.
Mr. Knight, we can move on to the virtual hands raised.
Very well, President Carson. We'll start with Georgina McPhee.
Hi, yes, I'd like to address the sidewalk damage that was done by the heavy planters that were put up on Fountain. There's been terrible damage due to the excessive water usage and those heavy barricades that were put up. And I think if you put in metered parking on L. Ron Hubbard Way, you'd be able to pay for those sidewalk repairs, plus pay for the cost of the meter.
To which item you're speaking? This is multiple
Sidewalk
agenda
repair
items.
number 4. Sidewalk repair agenda item number 4. The planters have done serious damage. They were in ADA violation for several months. I think they should be fined daily for each one of those planters, which would net thousands of dollars a day, and would make the repairs on Fountain, as well as any repairs necessary to retrofit L. Ron Hubbard Way with parking meters. Parking meters and parking is necessary on that street for access to the hospital, for patients of the hospital, hospital staff. It's expensive to park at a hospital all day long. If there was meters available to people and a street available to people, that street should never be closed off. It's a direct route to both of those hospitals. Children's Hospital and Kaiser Hospital are directly in line with that street. And the fact that that street ever gets closed off is baffling to me. Ambulances need to be able to go down that street.
Which item are you speaking on?
All the items. All the items. I yield back my time.
Thank you.
Notice though how that was Corson that asked that, right? Usually isn't it the city attorneys that pop in and say you're off topic? I don't know what the difference is when he's the one to do it, but I don't know. I noticed it. And he's been doing it personally himself a lot.
We'll move next to Audit LA. Please indicate which item you're speaking on. Go ahead.
All right, all items. The first, I will agree with Goat Puppet about the Sepulveda Basin, and it's beyond that. It's the entire East Valley, including the nicer areas. You know, like parts of like not the Toluca Lake Village, but other parts. Toluca Lake Village is nice, but you can't get it. It's so dark. I have been on video where it's so dark I can't even see in front of me, and I'm in a chair, and it's so scary and dangerous. There's no lighting in the valley. That being said, I want to go to the sidewalk. I agree also that as you do sidewalk repairs, that I submitted, I hope everyone's had a chance to review it by now. I have submitted the CASP report individually to every commissioner. Please review it. It's all important, and we'll be referring to it often. But they talk about the sidewalk portion on Fountain Avenue. I cannot go down it. I am restricted, so it's not Scientology per se now, with their endless permits closing the street where I can't get, where they want to keep me off. It is a broken sidewalk, so I don't know who do I need to sue over it? Is it Scientology that's responsible to fix it, or is it the city responsible to fix it? It gets very confusing because I can't go down it, and I'm tired of having areas where I cannot go down, whether it's because I'm in the dark or because it's so broken, it's too dangerous to even attempt. Now, mind you, this is a $1 billion place that has enough money to do everything they want on the street that they love. But the one that, the other side, they could care less about because it's not the traffic inside to their building, and it's so treacherous, which is maybe what they want. They got like a moat. It creates like a moat. It needs to be fixed. The next one is about the one with the increased money. Here we go. It's constant. At first it's going to be 1.4 million. Now it's like 4 point some odd million. Like, how does that happen? Is this because people continually come in and bid, and there's like bidders now that you're talking about? that they lie and they lowball and say, okay, we're gonna get this, and we're like, okay, we'll give it to you because it's so low, it's so nice, you know. And then they come in because they know they will always get the increase. Like I never hear any. I think one time I heard Commissioner Grant scrutinizing, which I appreciate immensely every time he scrutinizes things. Thank you, sir. You know, and but you know, but endlessly it gets voted on. It gets, you know, everything. So anyone can lowball. I could come and say, I'm going to fix this Sepulveda Basin for $10. Oh, I'm the lowest bidder. I get the thing. Then I come back. Oh, I need $10 million. And okay, is that what it takes? And you know, of course, I'm exaggerating, but this is the process that we've been seeing for so long. It needs to stop. I am here not just to talk about the stuff that Scientology is doing to the city, but also to hold the city. You have to be accountable.
Thank you.
Okay. So what stuck out for me was when audit says that it's like a moat. Like that's exactly like that's perfect. It is like a moat. And again, the imagery, you know, like that paints. But that's perfect.
Phil Fabulous.
We just got about 10 more minutes left of this, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. But
Go ahead. Yes, thank you. I just want to echo some of the comments made by Audit and GOAT. So talking about the Sepulveda Basin project, you know, I see there's a major sum total there. And I know the city's in desperate need of money. And what better way to generate a huge portion of that money? And I did some calculations thanks to the report that Audit submitted based on the countless violations of one of these criminal rackets that could easily go to actually funding this project. By my calculations, at least 1.5 million that you could generate from this revenue, not only in violations by Scientology, but also an additional million just on parking meters alone on L. Ron Hubbard Way. And not only that, I too fear for my life when I walk down a dark street. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard Way is a dimly unlit street, and I fear for my life because I know a Scientologist is going to go and assault me, just like they did Aja back a couple months ago, where a guy literally punched a protester in the face who was a Scientologist. And that's what they do. They just punch people in the face because they feel like they can get away with it on a dark street. And that's how you can get money for that's a Sepulveda Basin project. You can take money from organizations that aren't paying you and put it towards, at least now I've given you $2.5 million that can go towards that project so people don't get punched in the face by Scientologists on dimly lit streets. I think we can all agree on that. Nobody wants to get punched in the face on a dimly lit street by a Scientologist. That's something we can all agree upon. And similarly, when they talk about sidewalks and disrepairs, I mean, I've literally seen people trip and the disabled people get stuck on broken sidewalks. And money I see there also is required in the tune of 1.6 million. What better way to generate that money than start issuing criminal charges as well as fines to the racket that's known as Scientology? Easily 2.5 million right there. It's not even been a full year. You could easily fund the entirety of that project and not let people get punched in the face on L. Ron Hubbard Way by a Scientologist, and not get people stuck who are in wheelchairs because of the destruction that Scientology has done to the public right away. You can do all these projects by taking money from Scientology that you're entitled to and fixing these sidewalks and putting up streetlights so that people aren't getting punched in the face by Scientologists and the cops having to show up in mass, because that's what Scientologists do every day in and out. They punch people in the face, they destroy sidewalks, they make fun of the disabled, and they issue bogus criminal cases against people. And you could easily get that money for these projects if you just put up parking meters on L. Ron Hubbard Way, start issuing those criminal charges in violation of LAMC 5611 and 5612. You know it. And I've done the math. Easily 1.5 million dating back to June 2020.
President Carson, that does conclude.
that was another strong comment from him. Again, pointing out the possible metered parking and the revenue that it could bring in. And he's not just saying stuff. He said that he did the research and ran the numbers, and it could, you know, get the millions. Like, that's very powerful. And the whole thing where he kept repeating about punching in the face, and a Scientologist punching you in the face, like, I may have chose different words, but having that repeating through, having something that you keep coming back to, it's something that they remember. And, you know, when you speak a public comment after the meeting, you want them to remember so that they can think about it. So that gives them something to remember.
The multiple agenda item commenters who have identified themselves previously. However, there are 2 additional hands raised on the Zoom platform. If you'd like, I can ask if you'd like to offer commentary on a single item or a multiple item.
Yes, please.
Very well. I'll start with Lurker. Would you like to offer would you like to offer single item or multiple item agenda commentary this morning?
Multiple.
Very well.
Publicly.
Go ahead. Please indicate which item you are speaking on. Go ahead.
All of them. All at once. This is ridiculous. All the years that this same street has been spoken about in the media, which was limited back in my day when I first started paying attention to this stuff. Get a grip on
Which item
your
are you speaking on?
all of them. Take it or leave it. Do
Right.
what you do and be who you are. You're gonna
Identify 3 items.
be who you are.
Okay, but you have to stay on topic.
The topic is do your job. Do your job. Simple topic. All of y'all, get it together or get off the bench.
Speaker.
What the heck?
Have your comments to items on the agenda or you'll forfeit your time.
I'll forfeit my time. I hope you heard what I said. Talk to you later. Bye.
That was so amazing. In fact, you know what? I'm going to go back. We're going to hear that again. Like, that was just amazing. How long was it? Is that far enough?
Dating back to June 2020.
Yes, please.
Very well. I'll start with Lurker. Would you like to offer would you like to offer single item or multiple item agenda commentary this morning?
Multiple.
Very well.
Publicly.
Go ahead. Please indicate which item you are speaking on. Go ahead.
All of them. All at once. This is ridiculous. All the years that this same street has been spoken about in the media, which was limited back in my day when I first started paying attention to this stuff. Get a grip on
Which item
your
are you speaking on?
all of them. Take it or leave it. Do
Right.
what you do and be who you are. You're
Identify
gonna
3 items.
be who you are.
Okay, but you have to stay on topic.
The topic is do your job. Do your job. Simple topic. All of y'all, get it together or get off the bench.
Speaker.
What the heck?
Have your comments to items on the agenda or you'll forfeit your time.
I'll forfeit my time. I hope you heard what I said. Talk to you later. Bye.
So fucking brilliant.
Carla, I do see your hand raised on the virtual platform. Would you like to offer single item commentary or multiple agenda item commentary this morning?
Multiple, please.
Go ahead. Please indicate which item you are speaking on. Go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, I'm speaking on the first items, all the items that refer to funding, as I'm seeing millions of dollars being mentioned that are going to be used for funding. So I am calling to say, I've been hearing all the comments before me. I like to second the comments made for multiple items here by Audit LA, by the former and all the other former commenters. They are telling you, they're putting money on the table for you. They're telling you, here you have a case in which you can collect $1 million extra dollars. And if I were you, I would personally call these people and say, let's have a meeting, how we're gonna get this money. Because that's the way, like, how you're not gonna look good by collecting these fees and being able to refund the city with this initiative. When do you ever get public comment where people are bringing money and putting it on the table? Imagine you get in a suitcase and the money is in front of you and say, oh no, thank you. I prefer to collect it with taxes. How are you looking towards the people who voted for this government? This is insane. So I would encourage you, and I'm sorry if I'm being rude. I don't want to be rude. I'm being passionate about this. I really appreciate the work that you do, but please pay attention to the report that Audit Lay presented. Please pay attention to a former caller who talked about the money that you can achieve, collect with these fees. Please pay attention to the fact that there are other expenses that are being taken because of those planters that you allowed for 8 months. A person has been criminally charged. He's been mentioned before. He has been criminally charged for touching those planters or for touching something that had to do with his permits that also were not in compliance. So the city and the state is also spending money on criminal charges that are bogus connected to this. And a person is at the risk of going to jail for touching a planter that shouldn't be there. What if that person was the person with a wheelchair? He had to touch the planter and the planter broke. What, they're gonna charge them for vandalism, for a planter that was illegal? This is insane. And please check the case. It's got the Hutchstetter. It's a case where there's a criminal charge. Are you gonna charge every person that bumps into the planter? So there's more money wasted there. And it has to do with the street repair also. There's so much you can collect there that the fact that you're not grabbing it is driving me insane. I wish I was being told on my job, you know what, you can save all this. Good now. So that's why I want to second all the comments before me. And I hope you understand that if we talk like this, we want to help. We want to collaborate. We're bringing many solutions to your problems. We're making your work easier.
That's 3 minutes. Thank you.
Can I hear you?
All right, President. Thank you, Mr. Knight. With that,
Okay, so that's the end of the March 12th Public Works. Now, I'm about to end this, but I have one more short clip that's like a minute and a half. I'm gonna do another stream tonight. For me, the night's still early. And I think I'm gonna just pump these out where I'm going through these meetings from the past and, like, just, I don't know when, but just look out. You don't have to, Kirby's, don't worry, time zones, all that stuff. I get it. Like, don't worry about catching all my lives. But I'm putting them out there. So if people want to learn more about the meetings, they can catch it on the replay. Make sure you subscribe to Audit LA, Kirby's mom, that report, that inspection that they did, that's very important. And Kirby's did her first live stream today. So go over to her channel, show her some love. Before we go, though, I want to play. This is a bit older, but I want to play Carla from Hugo's office talking about the planters. This was like our first update publicly that they gave us. And this was back January 27th, 2025.
One more update because I know this item came up. So for the planters along Fountain and L. Ron Hubbard Way, so those have been reported to the Bureau of Street Services. I touched base with their investigators assigned to the case, and they informed me that due to the noncompliance to the citations and orders given to the parties involved, this case has been referred to the city attorney's office, and the hearing for this is scheduled for mid-February. And as it is a legal matter, the information available to the council office is limited, but BSS will be providing updates as they become available, and we will provide those updates to the community when we receive them.
So that was back at the end of January. And then I guess that court case, it was canceled. It was an appeal and it was canceled. But even though the planners are gone, let's not forget about the planners. Like, how are they able to get away with so many months? I'm just sitting there. There needs to be some type of pursuing it still. But I'll catch y'all later. Like I said, I'll probably do a lot of these and try to break them down, so they're not way long. But I'll see y'all later.